Welcome to the Mailbag on this Friday, October 24th, 2025, as we are 1 week away from Saturday night's main event, and SmackDown is going on as I record this. A little bit later than usual on Friday. I had some things going on, but here we are. We're going to answer your emails, and if we have any voicemails, we'll get to them. I'm not sure if we do. We might have one or two, but want to welcome you to the show. If you're new to the show and you just want to listen to ad-free audio, well, we have a solution. That's at patreon.com/WWE podcast, patreon.com/WWE podcast. And you can get all this ad-free, everything you're hearing, for free. For a week anyway. There's a free trial going on. So check it out at patreon.com/WWE podcast. So let's dive into the mailbag because we got some stuff going on. We've got some new emailers, some new listeners deciding to finally send us a message. And we also have patrons, but you guys know patrons are certainly priority. And let's just start with one of the oldest patrons among us, right? I mean, you guys know it. You guys know him. You know who I'm about to announce, and that's DJ Kuzmo, who's back at it again. And he says, what really is going on with LA Knight? Has the Yeah movement cooled off for good? Because he's been taking a couple losses on Monday Night Raw. A guy that was once United States champion, now being regulated to, I guess, a third-tier babyface on Raw. Does it seem like WWE is overly pushing main event Jey Uso to yet another world title opportunity? Okay, we'll get to that. To answer your LA Knight question, I'll continue to say that this guy just can't catch a break when it comes to timing. I don't think that they are off of LA Knight for good. Doesn't mean he'll never get an opportunity with the world title. But LA Knight seems like a guy that just can't time it up right, and WWE is going to make champion when it's an off season. It doesn't feel like they're ever going to put him in a position to win it all at WrestleMania. It feels like it may be because of his age, and I don't blame them for that part of it. He's, I think, north of 40 now. So when when you look at that and you're trying to push the future, LA Knight's really not your future per se. If you're looking to push some 20-year-old like Braun Breaker, 28-year-old like Braun Breaker. So perhaps that's part of it. Perhaps he just can't catch a break with timing. And throughout his couple of years now that the fans have really been behind him, they've never been able to sync up because of Cody Rhodes and mainly Cody Rhodes and his journey to the championship at WrestleMania 40 and WrestleMania 41. You never got an opportunity to say, hey, this is definitely LA Knight's time. He was also usually the guy that would face the champion first, the heel champion that had just recently won it or come off of a big win. And you knew that he wasn't going to win it, for his first defense. I mean, you knew that in a heel's first defense of winning a title or a babyface, they're not going to drop it, more than likely. So he can't ever seem to catch a break with the timing. So as far as Jey Uso goes, you also ask about winning Royal Rumble from this past Monday Night Raw. I really hope WWE not Royal Rumble. Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean, a Battle Royal. I hope WWE books Punk to win the title next week on Saturday, because to me, it's like WWE is forcing main event Jey Uso down our throats for another big push and not going the route of an organic push from the fans. Plus, it seems that it's been seen on the internet from wrestling sources that YouTube's highlight of Jey Uso winning the number one contenders Battle Royal got over 10,000 dislikes, with that amount continuing to rise on each passing day. Yeah, I don't even know what the count is. I saw that. It's well over 10,000 now. Now Jey Uso is not going to lose opportunities because of a dislike button on YouTube, nor is WWE going to change their plans because of a bunch of people hitting a button. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that as the typical consumer and the social media consumer, particularly the social media consumer that we all seem to be today, for better or worse, mostly for worse, we value likes and dislikes and comments and that kind of thing. And unfortunately, a lot of people today, this is related, I promise, do kind of put their worth, whether it's individualistic or their business or what have you, their worth is based on how many likes and how many followers they get. And to kind of translate over that to WWE's dislike button, I'm sure they took note of it. I'm sure that they saw that and they were like, fans don't know what they want. Can they make up their damn mind? They don't know. I don't think it's going to change a damn thing. There could be a million dislikes on it, and I think WWE would laugh at that. They're not going to change plans because of a dislike button as much as the 2025 social media consumer would like to believe that that's going to happen. It's not going to change anything. I mean, they'll file it away in their brains, but it's not going to be a determining or a mitigating factor either way, I don't think. So, but So as far as Jey Uso goes, though, I mean, I'm not a fan either of this pushing him down our throat. Now, again, if it's to turn him heel, do I still want him heel? I mean, I don't know. Even though he would grab the belt, do we need to see Jey Uso turn heel with the belt? I mean, that is, yes, more interesting. It seems to be the way they're going. I don't know if they want to anoint Punk with the world title at a Saturday night main event. That seems to be a platform, I'll be honest, straight shooting here, beneath him. That platform is beneath Punk to win a world title at, because it's Saturday night main event. It's not even a true PLE. It's a hybrid of sorts. It's a SmackDown plus. And yeah, some good wrestling has happened on that show. Some things that some noteworthy things have happened, but nothing catastrophic has happened. No real big thing has come out of Saturday night main event that has, earth-shattering effects on WWE. It's not meant to be that PLE. So I think you absolutely could have Jey Uso win here. And my predictions, by the way, will be coming next week, probably on a hybrid mailbag and a preview and prediction show that comes to us, you guessed it, before Saturday night's main event. So that to me is something that WWE is wrestling with, but I really do believe at this point you're probably going to have Jey Uso win. Of course, we'll see what happens this week. That could change my thoughts. That's just my early call before my official ones next week. Now, all right, two things from SmackDown to mention. Does Aleister Black and Zelina Vega's vignette kind of remind you of when Cross and Scarlett used to do those on WWE programming? I find it strange that the dark themes look somewhat close. Yeah, great analogy, great similarities there. The difference between them is that Black and Zelina have a little bit more recognition among the casual fan than did Cross and Scarlett, but they certainly have similarities. The dark couple, they have great chemistry on air. Also, the difference is that Scarlett didn't nearly have the talent I think that Zelina Vega does. Not in necessarily their presence or aura on camera, but of course in ring, Zelina Vega and her promos I think outdoes Scarlett. But I see the similarities, yes. By the way, I've watched the halfway mark of Cross's new documentary on YouTube called One Big Work, and I found it interesting. He has a story-driven thought process for wrestling, especially with creating consistent storyline angles that connect something that has never been before on the indie wrestling scene. I wish him and Scarlett all the best, and hopefully I get to meet him and Scarlett the next time House of Glory does a wrestling event in Queens, New York. Yeah, certainly. And if you ever do meet him, I'd love to hear about it in your weekly updates, DJ. That'd be awesome. They seem like genuinely good people. I have not seen the One Big Work documentary. I'm glad you let me know that it exists on the YouTube. That is on my to watch list for sure. Now, some people still believe that this is a work with Cross. It's not. I mean, if anybody believes that this is still a work with Karrion Kross, it is not. And it came on the heels of Seth Rollins's feigned injury of his knee that a lot of us thought was a little sketchy. They didn't strip him of the belt and they missed some loopholes, but it was in the pantheon of fake injuries. This was at the top of the list. I think they did a nice job. But this is something I will definitely put on my list for, the to watch list. I'll put it on my wish list. And also that kind of reminds me, when you're talking about the story-driven thought process for wrestling, that certainly needs to be more fleshed out or thought out, pun intended. WWE at times, and this has been a thing for pro wrestling forever, and really all areas of entertainment, is it just things just happen and they don't have an end point. There's no reason for things happening other than just to have them happen in the moment and to get people talking, but there's no real end point, no real story that they have in mind. And I know this could be something that it could blow up more than people realize. The AI story coming out of WWE, where WWE is using AI to help create their stories, apparently that does have some validity, and there is some anger that it even got out. I have mixed feelings. Okay, let's take this at face value that they are using AI, and I truly believe they are. Why? Because they have a incredibly powerful tool at their disposal called ChatGPT and other AI, OpenAI's, sources. Of course, they do, but ChatGPT 5 is at the forefront of their, and at their fingertips like everybody else. And it's a hell of a research tool that if you want it to be. And does WWE use it? I believe they do. Why wouldn't they? And here's the reason for it. I actually would not fault them, because all we care about as the general wrestling viewer and fan is that you get great stories and intriguing characters. That's really the end point. That is what we watch wrestling for. That's what keeps us coming back, is great stories, deep characters, payoffs, long story arcs. Then sure, you can have the one-off and the silliness, and you have humor, and not everything needs to be a long-term 5-year story. I get that. But the big ones do, and that's what we watch wrestling for, the moments, of course. And is AI capable of producing them? I mean, we'll see. We'll never know what exactly they're punching into ChatGPT to create a great story. We'll never know, because they'll never put that on Unreal. They'll never put that on there, because I think they'll feel that it discredits them. And to some degree it will. It's taking the human element out. If you're just going blindly with ChatGPT, now you could punch in ChatGPT what you want it to do, and then you could just cherry pick things that you like from there. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually don't think that's a bad thing. If it gets the creative juices flowing and it creates this incredible story, are the fans going to go, oh my God, that was amazing, but wait a second. This came from ChatGPT, or the hell with that then. No, they're not, because ultimately all we care about is the result. So all these fans that are, crying about AI and, oh my God, that's so lame. You at work, many people use ChatGPT to write emails, summarize information, do research, create images, and so on. What's this? Why is the standard different for WWE? Why is it suddenly that they aren't able to use one of the most powerful tools that humanity has ever created? Why are they not subject to that? Why are you able to do it at your job and use it for things that you may have dealt and deemed morally wrong just a couple of years ago, and now WWE is doing it, and suddenly it's bad for them, wrong for them? Why? So I mean, I can't believe I'm coming to the defense of WWE, but it's, you kind of have to look in the mirror here. And also, as just a fan, who cares where the ideas come? Who cares? Who gives a damn? Now, I could, argue the other side of that and talk about how they're just, they've been creatively weak for a while and they don't know what they're doing. And the fact they have to lean on a computer to come up with stories that are about human beings and human emotion, that you have to use a machine to help you flesh that out. It's sad. I mean, you could, certainly argue the other side of the coin. But I wanted to, for the first time in a while, come to the defense of the WWE. I think the case to use AI is stronger than the case to not use it. That's not to say there's not a case not to use it. That's not to say that it's in a way kind of embarrassing they have to use it in a way. But the benefits of using it, I think, outweigh the criticism of being exposed for using it. So that's how I feel right now. Opinion subject to change. Okay, number 2. I was absolutely shocked that Sami Zayn dropped the title to Dragunov last week. Kudos to Dragunov, returning from a major injury, but I did not see this coming. Sami had been having 6 amazing open challenge matches as he defended the U.S. title successfully. I hope Dragunov will continue the U.S. Open Challenge concept as it has become one of the most watched segments of SmackDown. The U.S. title is a workman's championship that should be defended on a regular basis. Yeah, hey, look, you're going to have that U.S. title defended on a weekly basis. You know me, though. I don't like constant title matches. I will make an exception for this format because the U.S. title open challenge that John Cena executed to perfection many years ago, that was carried in well by Sami Zayn. Zayn did a nice job carrying the rest of that down the field, so to speak. And I think that if you have that baton, sent to Dragunov, he could continue that as well. This is nothing wrong with it. It's a nice hook every week for who's going to get a shot. Could this be the last time Dragunov is champion? It is it's a fun segment, but the problem is the moment you drop it to a heel, game over. They're not going to do that every week. So, all right, DJ. Thank you. We'll get to that Joe Hendry report shortly. All righty. Let's see here. Let's go to Hector. Hector says, it's been a while, but I'm listening every week, and I keep forgetting to let you know. El Grande Americano has become a Mexican favorite. We love him so much. The AAA gets boos while El Grande Americano gets all the cheers. So I doubt he'll drop the gimmick soon. That's hilarious to hear. Now, Hector, I'm guessing that you are in Mexico. Are you in Mexico? Is that why? Because, well, I mean, AAA isn't exclusively performing in Mexico at the moment. I know they're expanding because WWE purchased them. But if they are performing in front of a predominantly Mexican audience, if they are cheering El Grande Americano, that shows you that the entertainment value supersedes any of this imaginary offense that people are taking on behalf of other people. It's amazing that the people that are actually being quote unquote culturally appropriated find it entertaining, and the ones that are not a part of this, gimmick are pretending to be offended on those that they feel should be offended, if that makes sense. It's a twisted, we're living in a weird culture, and weird is a very mild way to put it. Anyway, I'm loving more of Dominic's story in matches than Jay's for like the last few months. I know Dom isn't main event material yet, but I feel Jay needs to learn a thing or two from Dirty Dom. Well, Dirty Dom is coming into his own. We are seeing the arrival of Dominic Mysterio in front of our eyes. Now, he has gotten some of the most crazy heel reactions that I've heard over the years. But when that table turns, and it's turning, it turned organically. Actually, at WrestleMania, and WWE wasn't ready for it, so they just kind of kept him heel, and the fans mildly went along with it. But now they're ready to fully embrace him as this Eddie Guerrero, part 2 type of character, and I love it. I mean, he'll never be Eddie. We're not supposed to believe he's Eddie. Dominic has his own, way of winning and wrestling, and he's got his own presence. And I'm glad he established that before he kind of absorbed Eddie's style of winning a match by cheating by any means necessary. And that is something that I think was very necessary for Dominic to be successful long term, is to just establish yourself first before you try to imitate anybody else. Because if he had done the other way first, where he started to just take on Eddie Guerrero's personality and do those things, it would have looked kind of a little bit shallow. A little bit like, we don't ever know who you are, and we're supposed to be entertained by the fact that you're, imitating Eddie Guerrero. No, I know that you are related to Eddie. We understand that, but still, he's your uncle. Got it. But anyway, as far as Jay learning from Dom, I guess, I don't know. When you mean that he could learn from him, do you mean in the ring, on the mic? I'm guessing on the mic, because in the ring, Jey Uso is, I don't think he can get any better. He is as good as he's going to be. And certainly I think on the mic is where Jay needs a lot of help. Sometimes he can be a catastrophe, and we've seen that. We saw him crumble under pressure as champion. Not good. And I think that's a big reason why WWE realized, this is a big red flag. Even once, if it happens, we're out. And they bailed on Jay. So him as a heel could open up the tables, though. Sometimes you flip a guy and suddenly you're looking at them going, where the hell has this been? That could happen with Jay. That could happen with Jay. If we are truly seeing the turn of Jey Uso, hopefully not to feud with his brother. I really don't want to see anyone feud with you. You guys know how I feel about that. If they're doing that, a light switch could go on with Jey Uso. All of a sudden, we're watching him. We're like, where has this been for the last 5 years? As you were with Roman, and where was this? I hope that happens for him, because when you're a heel, you have a lot more freedom. you can kind of do and say what you want. You don't have to worry about the crowd cheering for you. They can boo you all they want. That's what you're going for, you know? So I hope for Jay that if this heel turn, this proposed heel turn, this anticipated heel turn does happen, that it is successful and it could totally change him. All right. Thanks, Hector. All righty. Let's go to Chris. Chris says, we have Jey Uso in another title match. The world is not overjoyed. As of 12 p.m. today, Tuesday, as you sent this. Oh, wow. There's 64,000 dislikes on the YouTube channel. Although Triple H says the online community has no influence, we know we do. Yeah. I mean, I just talked about how they're probably laughing at how many people are clicking a button. And you have to also wonder how many people are just joining in to be part of something. You know, you do have a fraction of those dislikes, not genuine. But they're not going to change anything because people are clicking a button. You know, no matter how many people click that button, it's not going to matter. They're going to use it as, you know, again, they'll remember that this happened. And if things continue to escalate online, there's an actual trend and there's a sustained trend on X where, you know, or even more so, in-person reactions change for Jay. That's what will get their attention much more than just people clicking a button, you know? So not to say this has no effect at all, because it could be part of a trend. It could be a sign of things to come, but it could be us kind of eating right into the hand of WWE, that they're feeding us exactly what we're eating and we're liking it, even though we don't know we like it, because we're disliking this, but we're supposed to because they're planning on turning Jay heel. You know what I mean? Like, we could be doing the exact reaction that they hoped we would do with them potentially turning Jay heel in a week. All right, so I started to think it was linked to the storyline with Jimmy, but after seeing a few stories around, there is potentially more. With how many times Jimmy saves Jay in the Battle Royal, Jay eliminating Jimmy and LA Knight at the same time builds the heel heat for Jay and Roman Reigns' influence to do what he needs for himself. It continues to build their new feud, although we can all hope it ends up being more exciting than their last match. Jey Uso is in a position to take a clean pin for Punk, then take the title. This is potentially linked to the next part about LA Knight. Knight is somewhat protected at the moment, so he couldn't take a loss to Punk, as Knight is said to be planned for finally a title run, so it makes sense. Well, I don't know where you're seeing that. I mean, I just talked about how the timing never seems to line up for Knight, who just can't catch a break. I don't know, again, where you are pulling the fact that Knight is scheduled to get a run. A lot of information online. I would make sure that, and again, I don't know where you're getting it. You may be totally right, but be careful, because this is the first time that I've heard anyone say that WWE is positioning and preparing Knight for a title run. They very well could be. I don't see it right now. He doesn't fit in right now. I think he's more suited, if they even want to go that road, to be a discussion among Royal Rumble winners. Doesn't mean he's going to win it, but he at least right now is in the discussion for a real finalist in that match. So yeah. All right. In other news, Sportskeeda is reporting that Tamina Snuka could be returning to join the MFT to equal out Nikki Cross from the Wyatts. The MFT looks so much better now. Tama Tonga returning and looking bigger was also reportedly due to fan feedback that he wasn't very big compared to the rest of the bloodline. So during his injured time, he went on a special gym and nutrition program at 41 years old. What a result. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty damn impressive. And the MFT, hey, they're not the bloodline. They are their own idea. They are their own group. It looks like Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa are still on a collision course, but I agree that their look is better. Their look is better. This is still an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot of the bloodline, but they're still looking better than they ever have. I would agree with that. Yes. And I'm all for improvement. And I think they are improving. They without the face paint and the new kind of bulked up look, Tama Tonga didn't exactly excite anybody. But if you're going to bring back also Tamina, there ain't nobody meaner than Tamina. That's for sure. That's what I've heard anyway. Fine. I don't think it's going to get a stone cold pop, that's for sure. But they do need a female to kind of equal out, as you said, Nikki Cross. You do, because we know how protected the women are in WWE from men retaliating because they're women. Finally, I know you mentioned it during your Raw review, but I 100% agree that Maxine is looking really good now. Could she be the most improved wrestler of the year, if not one of them? That's all from me, Chris in London. Thank you, Chris. I hope Maxine continues this. She needs to ride this wave. I don't know where it lands. It may land her in the Intercontinental Championship, that she is continuing to chase Becky. It very well could. They need to figure out if she feels that, or if WWE feels that dropping the belt to Maxine is a flash in the pan. Is she a fad? What's the depth of the fan support? That would be, to me, if I'm on the creative team and I'm using ChatGPT, I would make sure before asking about creating a storyline, asking AI to create a storyline about Maxine Dupree and the Intercontinental title, before making that story and telling that story, I would ask the question out loud: what is the fan support for Maxine? What is the depth? There's the key word of the fan support. Now, how do you measure that? It's not hard. Sustained support. Sustained is depth. And also, what's the general feeling? Just use your eyeballs. Use your gut. Why are the fans cheering for this person? Are they just kind of mildly entertaining? They do cool moves. If that's the case, the support is simply superficial, much like Ricochet's support. Why did fans cheer for Ricochet? It's simple, very simple, although he would disagree. He does cool moves. That's it. That's literally the whole thing. The whole thing for Ricochet is, I do cool stuff. Watch me do cool stuff. Don't I do cool stuff? Look at me do cool stuff. That's it. There is no level of support that you want that is Ricochet support. Now, Maxine, I don't believe fans are in that for Maxine's great moves or whatever. They are sniffing out a feel-good story, and they want to be part of it. And she's likable, and they have watched improvement, and they're jumping on board. That may be something to look into. All right. Thank you, Chris. And one more thing. I know you have a part 2 very quick. That to follow up on your email, you said it seems Jay is the holder of some records no one would want. Although it does make him a talking point, it depends on how you look at it, how you look at bad publicity. So this particular image I'm looking at, because obviously this is audio only, this is a tweet or post from WrestleLamia on X, and they said that Jey Uso now holds the title for having 3 of the most disliked videos on YouTube in 2025. The 3 are Jey Uso winning the world title, has 111,000 dislikes. Jey Uso defeating Austin Theory has 89,000 dislikes. Jey Uso winning the Battle Royal from this past week, again, 84,000 and probably growing. I would imagine that Jey Uso is now closing in on 100,000 dislikes from the Battle Royal. I would imagine. I haven't looked, but logic would dictate that. So pretty crazy. Now, yeah, that's not a stat that you want. Yet you listen to the crowd and you hear week after week, the crowd loves Jay. He moves merch. So the people clicking the buttons are the ones not showing up to the arena, or if they are, they're cheering for him. And that's the metric I would look at more than just people clicking a button. There's also no hashtag. He is not somebody that is trending like Cody was. That was an extenuating circumstance, but it's one that we should never forget. And I'm sure WWE wish never happened, because the "We Want Cody" hashtag changed WrestleMania 40 fundamentally. It fundamentally changed WrestleMania 40. Completely. And we ended up being right. I say we, fans. I didn't want Cody versus Roman, although you got it. You know, you certainly got it. And you had Roman drop the belt and all the rest, but it was supposed to be Rock and Roman. And we still haven't got that. And we've been talking about that match for 8 years. So that hashtag actually took away one of the dream scenarios that we may actually never have happen now. So let's not forget that as a bad side effect. But that hashtag really reinforced the idea that fans, if they create enough of a stink, still can control what WWE does on a high level. It's got to take a lot of collaboration and a lot of consistency. And most importantly, even more than that, people have to reflect this in the arenas. What comes through on television, that is what has to follow all of this online chatter and feedback and comments and trolling. Right? You have to follow this up with people in three-dimensional space going to these arenas and doing the things that they are complaining about on X or Twitter or Facebook. You have to have some in-person synchronicity with what's going on online. And until that happens, WWE is not going to change what they do or what they want to do with whoever. But thank you, Chris. That is not a good title for Jay. But again, fans seem to still love him. Listen, I'm just using my ears every single time he's on TV. Alrighty, cool. Well, that'll do it for the email portion of the show. That doesn't mean we're done, because we do have at least one voicemail, and let's get to that right now.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Records you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take it to my 67th episode of the Joe Hendry Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. This is an abbreviated episode on today's Joe Hendry Report, because on the previous episode of TNA Pro Wrestling, which was the fallout from Bound for Glory, we did not get an appearance of Joe Hendry. It seems like Joe Hendry is taking some time off, and most likely we will see him again. Because as always, if you just say his name, he might just randomly appear. Always remember to believe, say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
All right. A very abbreviated version of the show, DJ. Not used to it, but very well done as always. And good to hear from you. And I hope you're doing well down there in Queens. And ready for some football this year, because your Mets are out. As I said, you guys have been out for a while, but baseball season coming to a close, unless of course you're a Blue Jays or Dodgers fan, in which the World Series actually is going on right now. Should be a hell of a series. Even when this happens, this is not about baseball. Again, I know it's a wrestling show, but baseball is one of my second passions. I do hope that it goes 7 games, just because it makes it more interesting. And even the people that don't care about the World Series will tune in for a Game 7, because Game 7s are very special. Whether it's a championship series or the World Series, Game 7, when you hear just the phrase Game 7, is special. It's special in the NBA, in the MLB, it's special. NHL, it's special. So I'll definitely watch if there's a Game 7. I might even pop it on just because it's the last time I'll be able to watch real baseball, live baseball, until late March next year. So, and then we start the process all over again of the seasons, ups and downs, and but yeah, that's how many months away is that? Like 4 or 5 months, 5 months away. until baseball season resumes. And so it's a long, dark winter. But if you love football, you got football at least through the end of December. And then if your team is doing anything, you got January, for the championship series, and then 2 weeks, and then the Super Bowl or Pro Bowl and all that into early February, and you got the NBA mixed in, the NHL's going on. And so anyway, this is not trying to cover all sports here, all major sports, but you got my mind thinking about other things that are going on as baseball season's over, pretty much, for most of us. So, alrighty, that'll do it here for the WWE podcast. Again, guys, a little bit of a short show. That's okay. That's okay, because after you listen to this show, shortly after, we will be having Amanda from the UK, who will be covering SmackDown for us. She'll be popping in and dropping her thoughts on SmackDown that is going to occur and is occurring actually as we speak. And she actually will be on a bit of a vacation from December 1st to December 15th. So if somebody wants to take over for just a couple of weeks, December 1st to December 15th, kind of a weird time, I know, right before the holidays. But if you want to just cover SmackDown, let me know. The floor is open. And if not, cool. We're still looking to fill NXT. If you're interested in that, the NXT show or the After Dark show, you're interested in the After Dark show, send me a voicemail at Patreon, or I'm sorry, at my email, mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Send me your thoughts, an audio sample, and we can get chatting. So send me whatever you got over there. If you want to fill any of these positions, NXT, After Dark, or a 2-week interlude for SmackDown in December, let me know. Mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Be interested to hear you, and we can chat and see if it's a fit. So that will do it, everybody. Once again, thank you so much. If you want ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. Guys, we'll be back on Sunday with your weekend review. Until then, take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.